Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. This is Ben Kinney. Today, we are rocking and rolling with Chad Himes.
Who?
And Bob Stewart.
Whoop, whoop.
Today, we're going to start warming ourselves back up for the upcoming, at some point in the near future, investing series to be announced at a later date. But you can always register by going to winmakegive.com/invest or investing, Chad. I don't know. We're going to get the answer to that here in a second. It doesn't matter. So what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about, Dave, you're not going to believe this. Dave's in the background. He never says anything because he has his earphones on. But we're going to talk about making money. Remember that rap song? Going to make money, 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 money.
Oh, here we
Something
go.
like that.
We're ready to rock and roll. He's rapping.
That's every rap song, I thought.
I don't know. I
want to half of them.
I want to make money, 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 money. Is there some other song that says money like that?
I'm sure there is.
What do you got, Bob? Nothing?
I think Floyd has one, but we're not going to go there.
There you go. Pink Floyd. That's a good one.
Thank
You know, we're going to make money. That's what we're going to talk about. Why? Because money changed lives, change your life, change all of our lives. If you don't like money, send your excess to us. We will accept it. Chad, please insert our mailing address.
Yes, we will take care of that right away. Ben's in a mood. Ben, I want to confirm it is winmakegive.com/invest.
Yes.
So they can register for the investment series that's coming up. And Ben, you know, I want to go into our Facebook group for a second while you're talking about what you're talking about, because it has been fantastic to read some of the posts of late. And that's facebook.com/groups/winmakegive. So come join us there if you're not already there. There was a post just shared not too long ago in the group. It said, my sister called me crying yesterday. It says, roofer showed up to replace her leaky roof and she didn't know why. I paid for it. Right? She'd been taking care of their mother with dementia for 2 years and had not been able to work and contribute to her family financially. It was the best thing that Jamie was able to do as a result of his career, and wanted to thank us for our time and spirit showing the ripple and how they're changing lives out there, Ben. And one, that's a fantastic message. And then along with that message, I don't know how many people I have seen posting about their net worth going up and up and up. Ben, let's talk about making money.
Money, 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 money.
I can't say that anymore.
We need another word, Chad.
I'm going to say, how about income?
Income.
No, it doesn't work the same, Ben.
Bob's cracking up over here on the side. Let's income.
Yes, let's talk about income.
You know, the vast majority of us in the world, not us listening to this podcast, because we're all striving to be at a different level. The vast majority of people get to take advantage of one type of income. And let's call that one today normal income.
Okay.
Normal income is income that you receive, Bob, in exchange for doing work, in exchange for selling a service, or in exchange for offering hours. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. The problem is it usually has a cap, or the worst part is it's taxed at the highest level. This normal income would be, Chad, working as an hourly employee.
Yep.
Or salary, same thing, right?
Yep.
Working for hourly as a coach, Bob, or a consultant, or by the job if you're doing freelance work, or writing articles for people, or even just working at your own company. You show up every single day and you take a normal amount of money off. That's the vast majority of the types of income that people get to take advantage of.
That's just normal income.
It's just time for money, right? Somebody's willing to pay me to do something, and I take my time to do that thing.
Yeah, it's money made in the present. So what's the downside of that? It's all tied to how much time you have available to invest, right? It's something you have to sacrifice your time and energy to make that type of income. Make sense?
Yeah. And most of us are stuck here. I mean, most of the world is stuck here. They never get beyond that point.
Yeah. It's also why we get burned out or we give up. We don't want to push it any further or any to new levels because we just don't enjoy it. Like you can only do hammer the same nail so many times before we start going a little bit crazy. So we want to move through the types of income because we want to avoid the high tax rates of normal income. Normal income, at the bare minimum, if you're not making very much money at all, you're going to be paying 10 to 12%. If you're in the high income bracket and you live in a state that doesn't have an income tax, we're just talking about federal income tax, you're going to pay upwards, if you're making over $500,000 a year, of 37% of your income. I mean, that's $4 out of every $10 bill you put in your pocket. You got to get $4 back to Uncle Sam to go waste on $5,000 toilets and $6,000 hammers. That's a problem. Well,
or a really good hammer.
Yeah, or a super
really good
that'd be
hammer.
like Thor's hammer.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be a sweet hammer. Like, I'd be cool if the government bought a bunch of Thor
I
hammers.
worked at a hardware store once. That's no such thing.
There's not a $6,000 hammer.
I mean, there shouldn't be. There is, I think, but
There is a $10,000 sandwich.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
That's another episode.
We'll get to that in a different day. So let's talk about the next type of income. The next type of income is investment income. This investment income is money that you make from selling an investment, selling a house that you bought for more money, selling a stock that you bought for $1 and you're going to sell for $2.
Baseball cards. My old
baseball cards, yeah. It's not what happens when you take a stock tip from Bob Stewart and you buy VSTM for $4.
Wait a minute. I'm going to go on record here. My stock tip from Bob is doing way better than the stock tip
it's like
from Ben Kinney recently.
by the way.
I had one that dropped from $2 to 20 cents a share thanks to Ben Kinney.
You should have doubled down. You doubled down. It's a good deal. My Bob stock tip went from $4.28 down to $1. So, ladies and gentlemen, the gist of what we're saying is, don't take stock tips
from anybody.
from Bob Chatter or Ben. You know what I mean?
So you got normal income, Ben. Now you're talking about investment income. So that's the money I'm making above and beyond what it cost me to buy. So if I bought a house for $500,000 and I'm selling it, are you talking in that? Or are you just talking investments I'm making like stocks, my baseball cards, things along those lines?
In my mind, investment income is any time you buy an asset and you could sell it for more in the future.
Got it.
This could be a business, which we've done a lot of that. It could be gold. It could be real estate. It could be stocks or bonds or mutual funds. Those are all investment income opportunities. And when you think about it, that's where a lot of the world makes their real wealth, or any type of real cash they end up with, is when they sell that house that they bought, right? They bought it for $200, they sell it for $300. It's the only time in their lives they've ever had that amount of money in there.
But that income requires a sale in order to realize the income. Is that right?
You have to give something up.
Because I think about like bonds that pay a dividend or something like that, or stocks that pay a dividend. That doesn't fit in that category, right? We're talking about we buy something and then later when we sell it, there's a difference between what we bought it for and what we sold it for, and that's that investment income.
Yeah, would not include things that pay a dividend because you still own it.
Yeah.
Investment is when you're taking an asset and you're selling it.
And you don't realize it until it's sold.
Yeah. Well, there's two types of investment income out there. So we're investment income
Part A and Part B.
Part little a and part little b.
Yep.
Little a is short-term investment income. In the United States, our tax code, for the most part, says that if you hold different types of assets for less than a certain period of time, you're going to pay normal income tax. Like if you own a house and you lived in it for 2 of the last 5 years, you can sell that property and not pay income tax on the first $250,000 if you're single, or there's a marriage benefit of $500,000 if you're married, right? Well, stocks are the same way. If you buy a stock and you sell it in less than a year, day traders, flippers, coronavirus stock buyers, those types of things, right? You're going to pay normal income tax, right, Bob? Well, part B of investment income is long-term investments. Anytime like you hold a stock over a year, you pay capital gains as opposed to normal income. And capital gains is much better. Your first $40,000 a year that you make in capital gains, you pay no long-term tax. You're from 40,000 to 430 something thousand, you pay 15%.
Please speak to your professional.
Do not take tax advice. Yeah, right. Or if you make over $400,000 in a transaction, 434 or so, whatever it is, you pay 20%. But 20% is still a lot better than the 37% that you'd have to give up. Now, you like these types of investments because the favorable tax benefits, and some people turn it into a career. Some people turn short-term investment income into a career. They buy homes and they flip them, right? If you're fixed up a home and you got it done in 10 months, it'd be so much better for you to just hold it for that extra 2 months, so you held it for at least for a year, right? Or stock could be better if you hold it for that extra, right? Let's talk about the third type of income. And this is one that we talk a lot about in the wealth series, and we'll talk even more about it in the investment series. And this is passive income. Passive income is income that you earn from owning assets that requires little to no work on your part. Like, you did a bunch of work to buy your first rental house, Bob, and now you don't have to do much on it. You just collect rents.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure our tenant doesn't listen to this, but I do have to go over there and like change light bulbs. Like this kid, but yes, correct. There's very little work done on that thing.
Well, another example that you gave is, let's say that we bought some
Starbucks.
Do they give dividends?
Yeah, they do a dividend.
Yeah. So let's say we bought a bunch of Starbucks stocks last year, but they do a dividend every single year. That's passive income. That's income that you make for work that you did in the past. And it's the greatest income in the world. Like, some people would rather have a $100,000 salary than a rental property that cash flows $1,000 a month. But for me, I'd rather have the $1,000 a month because that's the most amount of money I've ever made per hour.
Right.
Because you didn't really do anything for it. You did a bunch of work a couple years ago when you first bought that condo, that house, or that duplex, but now you're not really doing much. It's the highest amount of money that you make per hour.
So Ben, we had normal income was trading time for money, basically.
Our job.
Right. And now you're taking it, investment is obviously going to be that difference that we've made when we sell something, but we have to give something away to get it. Now you're talking passive income. We don't have to give anything away anymore, and we don't have to do any more work. This is basically free money now as it's coming to us because we've done the work you're saying in the past.
Yeah, these are investments that we made with our normal income or our investment income that we decided to keep because they create cash flow. Dividend paying stocks, if we kind of revisit the list again, rental properties, investments in businesses where you're kind of a silent partner or owner and it pays that money out. Another one that a lot of people overlook because they don't truly understand a whole lot about it is interest. Like, interest is passive income. If we go to one of your in-laws and we say, we'll give you $1,000 in exchange, right? You got to pay us $1,000 back, but every month, right, you got to give us $100. That's pretty good. Plus, you got to pay us back. That interest income is another major source of passive income.
So are you putting, Bob mentioned earlier, bonds and CDs, things like that. Is that falling into the passive income as well? Because I'm buying into that and it's sitting there for 5, 7 years, whatever it is, however long the bond is, and I'm making more money at the end.
Only if the bonds pay interest out annually that you can take out.
Got it.
Right?
So not one that I got to wait 20 years for it to mature.
You can't touch it. That doesn't count.
Okay.
We're looking to increase our hourly rate, to constantly increase our hourly rate. Now, what's the drawback, the downside of passive income? Is it usually requires, unless you married good or had better parents than us, like it usually requires having some capital, which is going to come from having a good paying job, right? Or making some good investments.
Right.
So when we think about income, our goal is to move as much income as possible from our normal income and as much income as possible from our investments into things that create passive income in the future. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
path.
What's going through your guys' and gals' heads?
Well, we know Bob's sitting over there kind of starry-eyed.
Every time we do these stupid exercises, the first thing that goes through my head is, what the hell did I do in my 20s? Like, what did I do with all that friggin' money that I made in my 20s? Like, I don't know. I went to
spent it in
Vegas
your
a lot,
30s.
Chad. I'm sure I showed up at a few of your shows in Vegas. Like, so the first thing that just that happens in my head is just maybe this regret of like not knowing this stuff sooner and not taking it more serious sooner. I hope there's some 20-year-old right now listening in our audience that, you know, can start making better life choices now, because I spent a lot of time working and earning in my 20s, but I wasn't turning that into passive income or really even making great investments, right?
Yeah, I think what you're getting at here, Ben, is you're giving us yet again another system for creating more wealth in our world. And that is, we're all going to have that job at some point. So it's taking that normal income, as you said, and we've talked about this in other episodes, living on as little of it as possible so that we can actually create investments for ourselves, whether it's Bob's shoe collection or his hat collection that maybe one day he sells some of and makes
Let's
some
stop
money.
calling those investments. I'm never selling them. I've decided I'm just going to wear them all now. Like, that's not an investment for me.
Well, I read this article the other day, funny enough, as we digress for a second. I read this article the other day of this dad who, since his son was born, bought him a bottle of whiskey, Macallan, is that how you say it? Macallan whiskey, every year.
Why is it that Dave's nodding his head like he absolutely knows this story already?
Dave is a professional drinker.
There you go. Okay.
Right.
This story got sent around. Did you send it around to us? It got sent around. I've seen it too.
It was in my Smart News app.
Okay.
So he buys his son a bottle of whiskey every year from that year, right? So his son's now 25 years old or 30 or whatever it is. So he has 30 bottles. And those whiskeys are worth enough that if he sells them, it's the down payment for his house. So now he's taken dad's gift and he's selling them for his down payment. And his dad's super excited that he had done this thing. So you may not never sell your shoes, but your kids will be like, I want a down payment for a house, right? I'm selling daddy's shoes.
These Air Jordans are going to buy me a house by now as they're going.
Probably enough for a small down payment on a house in there.
Because our baseball card collection is not going to pay off. Like, we've been packing them around for 27
Still have
years, and they still are worth 99 cents.
Yes, Nita just asked me the other day, what am I doing with this? And she held up the binder of the baseball cards that I have been traveling with and my Star Wars action figures. So, Ben, you were saying, again, we take our normal income, step one, simple, turn it into investment income opportunities for ourselves, and then we keep moving along the path here, the goal being to create passive income. That way, as life goes on, as we get older, we get towards that retirement age, as we've talked about in the wealth series again, that I can sit back and just let the money flow in instead of having to work.
Yeah. So as you're listening to this call today, you're thinking, this doesn't really apply to me. And it does, because this is how you're going to get ahead. And this is how you're going to win, make, give,
And be able to give.
and do good, right? So I want you to take a piece of paper, and I want you to write 100. I want you to write 1,000. I want you to write 10,000. I want you to write 100,000, and I want you to write 1,000,000 on a piece of paper.
Okay?
Now, on that piece of paper, all I want you to do is think about where you're at. So right now, do you have $100 a year in passive income coming into your life? If you do, Bob, cross out the 100. You've made it through that level. The next question, do I have $1,000 a year coming in passive income? Chad and I worked for a company, in some ways still do, that does profit sharing.
Right.
And once you get past a certain period of time, you're vested, retired, and you continue to earn that.
Yep.
What is your profit share per year? Is it over 1,000?
Yeah, it's over 1,000.
So you get to cross out the 100 and the 1,000 mark simply from that.
Yep.
Some of you are thinking, well, I don't even have 100. Well, here's the first place where most people get passive income: their savings account. Your savings account and your checking account, as long as you have it in the right bank in the right place, it pays interest.
I was gonna say, we might need to can we add like a $10 spot on here? I feel like my savings account's like maybe give me 10.
It's not
bucks a
paying the
year.
interest it paid when I worked at a bank when I was
That's
much
true. I mean,
younger,
it's
yet it is
really
still
low these
paying
days.
interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's some really cool bank accounts out there that you can set up for minors under 18 where you can put money in there and they pay a ridiculous amount of interest. Like
they know you're not going to
4,
take it out
5,
or
6,
something.
7%, like something silly, but it's maxed out that you can only put $1,000 a year or whatever it is. It's kind of teaching them that.
Yeah.
But in that way right there, your kids, right, they're going to be making that $100. They're going to be working their way through the first passive income box before they're out of diapers,
Right.
which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, when I first started, thinking about this and understanding that I had a little bit of money coming in, one of them was I had an affiliate deal when I was younger. Not like an MLM, but close enough to it, right? If I referred somebody to a service, I would make a little bit of money. Basically, here's what it was. I would go out and I'd sell cable TV and internet door to door. But if there was no cable lines in the area, I'd have to refer them to somebody because we didn't service the area, right? You refer them to some other company, they would send you $50 or $100 or 25.
Sure.
It doesn't matter, right?
Yep.
So you just start having a little bit of income coming in. Well, I worked really hard in my real estate or in my cable guy career to save up enough money to have a down payment on a property.
Right.
Instead of buying just a regular house, I bought a duplex instead. And when I bought that duplex, Bob, I put my $10,000 or $11,000 down because that's what the lender said I had to put down. I bought a duplex. My mortgage payment was $1,200 a month. Each side paid $1,200, roughly. So if you add that up at the end of the year, if both sides were rented, I actually now have crossed out the first one, 100.
Yep.
The second one, 1,000.
Yep.
And now I'm making over $10,000 a year in passive income because I rented out that unit and it was greater than my mortgage payment.
And if you want to hear a lot more about that, scroll way back, folks. Episode 6, we dive deep with Ben on his first investment.
Yeah. Well, it could be as simple as renting out rooms in your house or renting out your garage, right? There's ways to get up to that $10,000 a year number where you're just making money passively no matter what happens. The next steps are where it's going to get more difficult.
Sure.
Going from $10,000 to $100,000 or from $100,000 a year to $1 million, that's going to be a little bit of a journey.
Sure.
Which is why we launched the Wealth Series and why we're building the Investing Series.
So Ben, when I'm getting to somewhere near that 10,000, let's say I don't even have that crossed off yet. I'm making $5,000 or $6,000 a year. Would you be advising people to just say, hey, you made $5,000 a year more, so Bob, go buy yourself a few more pairs of sneakers? Or are you saying at the beginning, as soon as possible, your passive income should go right back into other passive income creating opportunities?
Yeah, you'd be saving it up in the buckets until you have enough to make that next investment.
So since it's passive income, I'm probably still in a position where I have normal income and I probably still have investment income. The goal being at that point, if I can live on my normal income, that my investment and my passive income all keep going back to create more.
Do you have investment income though? Because like in Ben's scenario, what he's describing, he has his passive income because of his investment, but he's not going to have investment income until he sells that duplex, which he hasn't done for 15 years, right? So he never really had that second bucket of income. He had an asset that he purchased that he could sell later for more that he turned into a
Passive income opportunity.
right?
Yeah,
There are other things he's selling though along the way, like stocks, where he's selling investment and bringing in
so he's
investment
investing
income
and he's
along
selling.
the way.
He's maybe be doing more of the day trade or not the short term investing stuff. Yeah.
I saw this great Craigslist post the other day that said, unique opportunity to make $4,000 a month. This is not some MLM scheme. We are literally selling crack. So, I cracked
I hope
up.
they got flagged for that because we got flagged for all the stuff we used to put out there.
So what I want to do is I want to spend the rest of our time in this episode walking through a handful of passive income creating assets that maybe you hadn't thought of or you have and you haven't been counting or that you want to do next. So let's just walk through some of these lists. The first one we already mentioned, which was CDs and bonds.
Yeah.
If those pay interest and the interest is distributed monthly, quarterly, or annually, that counts.
Okay.
That counts. Next one, checking and savings accounts,
Sure. Yep.
right? If they're paying money back, that counts. Right now, actually, one of the stock apps that we all play on here in this little group of guys is the Robinhood app. They pay really high interest on the money that you have in there. Yeah. It's high, like 1.9% or 2% or something like that. It's significant compared to what Chase is ripping me off at right now, right? Well, so let's think about some other ones. Stocks that pay dividends.
Yep.
Bob brought up
Starbucks. Yeah.
There's lots of those examples. I think Apple actually pays dividends.
I just got a dividend on something. I don't even remember which one in Robinhood, and it just reinvested it right back into the property.
Sure?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can Google it and prove me wrong, but
no, I just invested in them when they split here recently. I bought some stuff, so I'm excited for my dividend.
I followed you on that as well.
Dividends are when a company takes some of their profits and pays it out to their investors. A lot of times companies that don't have a strong like stock price growth, they're not like Tesla that's going up 4 billion%, right?
Yep.
But they're successful companies. One of the ways they encourage investors to be a part of it is by giving great dividends.
At Disney's one, they do, because I know my daughter would get a check regularly because one of her grandparents bought her a share of Disney when she was born.
GE's another one I own that gives a dividend. I'm in here looking at the stocks that are giving dividends. Yeah.
So that's a way we can be creating money without thinking about it. Now, Ben, let me ask you though, when it comes to that, your advice, would you be taking that dividend and putting it into a bucket, or are you going to roll that right back into the stock if that's an option and then not look at it?
Since, one of the things that people say to me is like, I want to get enough passive income so I can stop working.
Right.
I don't really have great advice for that because I haven't stopped working. I continue to do my job every day. Because of that, I have normal income, which means I can live off that.
Right.
I use all my investment income or my passive income to buy more assets. So I would take that dividend and I would go buy another share of stock if I could. Right. Or save it up till I had enough to go buy a few more shares, and I would do that, right?
Okay.
These are traditional companies, Coca-Cola, some of the auto dealers if they're doing good. The really, really profitable ones, those would be kind of great examples. Another one, renting out your house. Instead of selling it, you're going to rent it out and move to your next one. One of the biggest and fastest ways to build real wealth, in my opinion, is to buy 5 residential homes, buy one every 2 years, rent out one, move to the next one. We'll talk about that in more detail later. But if you aren't to that level yet, what could you do at your house that would make some passive income? You could rent out a RV parking spot. You could rent out a couple bedrooms.
Rent out a bedroom, yeah, for Airbnb opportunities.
You have some friends, Ben, that they go on a vacation like at the same time every year, and they rent their home out while they go on vacation and leave. They Airbnb it for
Airbnb while they're gone, yeah. There's lots of ways to find passive income along the way.
Okay.
Another one would be multifamily rental properties.
Yep.
Buying that duplex or that triplex. Some of you are sitting back and thinking, gosh, I can't really afford that. Today, I was just looking at investment properties in Cleveland. We have a partner there, Amanda Pullman, and she does a lot of investment real estate because you can buy homes there for $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000. You can buy duplexes and triplexes for $80,000, $100,000, $120,000. That might be a place that you or another couple friends, you go buy an investment.
So it might not always be in your own backyard, is what you're saying, because you might be priced out of your own market. Doesn't mean there aren't other opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another one is you could invest in, they call them REITs. So basically real estate funds. And one of them that I use, kind of an easy way to get into it, I use the Fundrise app. And the Fundrise app pays dividends in interest on a monthly or quarterly basis based on the amount of money that you've invested. And I'm basically investing in fractional percentages of apartments, commercial buildings, commercial real estate across the United States.
So basically they own the properties, or they've bought the properties with your money.
Yeah.
Right.
I buy 1% of it. right? But it would get spread out across 5 different properties, so I don't have the risks or the management. That would be another good example of that. You could buy real estate with people. Let's say in Cleveland, you don't have $50,000 to buy your own home, but the 5 of us could save up enough that we could all buy it by putting $10,000 and have no mortgage. That could be another one. Investing in a business. As long as you're not personally running it, a good example of that would be buying a franchise. And I own a lot of businesses that I've started from scratch, but I also own a lot of franchises. And franchises allow me to really easy run a business or hire somebody else to run it and really have passive income coming back to us.
And you're not having to start those things from scratch. A franchise, that, I mean, kind of the primary reason you do that is because they have all the systems and models. They've got the logos and the marketing and on and on. And
yeah, paint by number, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right? Well, another one would be you start your own business, invest in a friend's business. As long as you can have somebody else running them, that's passive income. If you have a website that's successful and you want to put banner ads up in there or charge people advertising for being on there, Bob, you and I have worked in a business that brought in $100,000 a month in advertising at one point.
Or a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Not just a website. You might have a YouTube channel where you've been sharing a lot of content, a lot of information, right?
I mean, look, there's some of the examples out there in the YouTube world are just staggering in terms of like young children making millions of dollars a year because they find some niche. You know, there's that Ryan
talking
kid
about
that
the kid
opens the
open
toys.
packaging. I couldn't understand
he opens
that.
toys and he made $23 million last year. But most of us will never, ascend to that level. But even if you had, content you were placing on YouTube and you were getting, tens of thousands of views on that content, there's income to be made in there.
Yeah.
Especially in a niche.
I had a friend that instead of giving his kid money, he loaned his child money to buy a vending machine and then worked with him to go find a place to put the vending machine. And then on Sundays, they would go out and fill up the vending machine, and he made his son pay him back for the cost of the machine. But then after it was established, he just had to pay for the cost of the candy bars or sodas or whatever they put in there. That's passive. Other passive things, you could invest in things like car washes, laundromats. You could even put washers and dryers in other people's properties. Those little candy machines, remember the cool ones you put the quarter in? You got the little sticky guys and the parachute guy and the little football helmets and stuff. Those are cool. Storage, either on your property or at a different property. That's a very kind of passive business.
Okay.
You could build your own product and then license it or sell the rights to it.
Okay.
You could rent out your car. What's that car sharing app that allows you?
Turo, T-A-R-O.
Turo or something?
Turo?
Yeah. What if you have other equipment, a boat or tools or an RV or something useful? You could grow stuff. In our state, you could grow a variety of things.
Yes, make sure it's legal in your state before you start growing it.
Yeah. There's lots of ways to take the assets that are in front of us and turn them into sources of passive income. If you don't have any of those ways, focus on increasing your normal income, reducing your expenses so that you can make more investments, and then find a way to work this out by listening to our other episodes and to our lessons and our interviews of other people that have gone from outhouse to White House, so to speak. Right, Chad?
Yes, sir. That's a very
outhouse to penthouse. Is it? I don't know why you brought the White House in there.
Because I might run for president. And I started with an outhouse.
Well, you heard it here first, folks, on the Win, Make, Give podcast. Ben Kinney for president 2024.
I need a little bit more time. I gotta work on my abs.
All right.
I gotta get the look down. I gotta look like a
I want to
president.
try to run for mayor of Bellingham first or something.
Isn't he already?
Just the Trump route straight to the White House.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab a basketball. I'm gonna try out for the MDA. Is that what it is?
MBA.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go straight. And I'm gonna go run for president.
All right. Well, folks, you heard it here first. We want to know, would you vote for Ben Kinney? That's right. Join us in our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/winmakegive, and let us know if Ben Kinney would get your vote. Please make sure you remember to share this episode with friends of yours that are looking to create more normal income, investment income, and the elusive passive income that Ben's shown you multiple ways to get your hands on today. Until our next episode, folks, remember, wash those hands, and as always, do good.